Welcome into Dating at Her Age. I'm Debbie.
And I'm Caitlyn.
And today we're going to talk about lots of things, including dating apps and the fact that a lot of people are feeling numb about dating apps. In fact, in a second, we're going to be joined by ABC News' Mike Dobuski. He's going to walk us through what the landscape looks like for dating apps. I think what we're hearing, Caitlyn, before we talk to Mike, is that a lot of people are feeling a lot like we are with dating apps. We're feeling some burnout.
Yeah, I am top of that list. I've been trying to change my perspective on it. I was actually thinking about setting up a date for myself this weekend, trying to get on the app for Valentine, not making it a Valentine's Day date. I'm not trying to do that, but just do something different and a little out of my, not comfort zone, but something I don't like doing. But yeah, I'm feeling burnt out. I felt that way, and I really do crave that in-person connection.
And we will make sure when we talk to Mike that we ask him about like the latest alternatives to dating apps, like in-person meetups, because you are really big on meeting somebody in the wild. And fingers crossed, perhaps Mike will have some ideas for us. So let's bring on Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Thanks for joining us. We've got a lot of people who listen to this show that have a not so much in love relationship with dating apps. So what are you finding out about dating apps?
Yeah, guys, we've observed a real slowdown in the dating app industry. So we look at the financials of the Match Group, which is kind of the biggest company in this space, at least in the United States. They own Match.com, they own Hinge, they own the most popular dating app in the world, which is, of course, Tinder. And they reported a flat overall revenue for 2024 in their most recent earnings report. Paying subscribers on those platforms are down, and management of that company says they expect that trend to continue into 2025. And guys, the picture is not much better at Bumble, which is the biggest competitor to Match Group. They actually reported a slight increase in users, but the money that they're making off of each individual user is down, as well as overall revenues. And zooming out, just kind of getting away from the heady financials of it all, guys, we are observing this general malaise towards dating apps among the romantically inclined public. About 60 million people use dating apps in the United States, at least last year. That's what we think. And a Pew Research study from a few years ago finds that many people are having not so great experiences. About half of all online daters, according to this study, say their experiences have been negative, and that is particularly true among women. Negativity here means a couple different things. About 52% of people say they've encountered someone they thought was a scammer on a dating app. 57% of women say that online dating is unsafe, and 85% of people say that someone continued to talk to them on a dating app even when they said the conversation should be over. So the big takeaway here, I think, is that if someone doesn't seem interested, maybe just lay off.
And this is not, so Mike, just for context, I am kind of anti-dating apps. I have been for a while, and this is not convincing me to get back on them. And so is there a more of a want for in-person connection? Are you seeing anything with that?
It certainly seems that way, and you're not alone. About 79% of Gen Zers now say that they're foregoing dating apps altogether in favor of like in-person events, IRL meetings. Imagine that. And what are they doing specifically instead? Well, there's this report from Eventbrite that I've been looking at over the last year that found that attendance at these in-person singles events is actually up about 49% from 2023. In general, we're talking about like game-based sit-down events for singles, so things like chess clubs, trivia nights, that sort of thing. The attendance at those events is up by about 400%, according to this study. Also, athletic-based singles events are on the rise, up about 136%. And I'll just say anecdotally, I live in New York City. At certain times of the year, in certain parts of the city, it's hard to round a corner and not be stampeded by a runner's club full of singles trying to find someone with a shared interest. So I will just say it is showing up on the ground, at least here.
I love that people are finding love offline. But the takeaway here, Mike, it sounds like dating apps, at least some dating apps, are experiencing a flat line when it comes to revenue year over year. Is that what you're seeing? But then these in-person meetups are seeing huge increases.
Yeah, that's kind of the trend that we're observing. And it's not just the financials of a lot of these apps that are kind of in question here, guys. There's been some pretty big blunders when it comes to PR with some of these apps. Bumble, in particular, last year launched what they called an anti-celibacy campaign, which made a lot of people very angry, and they quickly took down that ad campaign. That was kind of a mark against them. And what's more, Bumble is, of course, the app where women message first, right? That's kind of their main selling point. They released a feature last year that lets men message women first in certain contexts, which seems to kind of cut against the entire sort of thrust of that particular app. And after that feature was announced, their stock price really took a tumble, and it has so far not recovered since then. That being said, though, there is technology still playing a role in people's dating lives. That study that we were talking about with regards to these singles events comes from Eventbrite. That is a platform that hosts and helps people organize meetups and events like that. There's also Pitch a Friend, which is a sort of new trend that we're observing in some cities across the country, Seattle, Philadelphia among them. This is a service that operates where people can present a 5-minute PowerPoint presentation projected onto a wall for people to basically pitch their single friends to other people to see if they're interested. So that's a kind of in-person technology inflected sort of trend that we're seeing. There's also Time Left, which is an app that has gotten some attention recently. This is an app that sets you up with 5 other strangers at a dinner where you kind of all talk together and maybe hit it off with one person in particular, but it's designed to like take the pressure off of one-to-one dating, going out with one singular person and having that kind of be a stressful experience. Maybe it's a little bit easier to talk in a group and maybe spin off and exchange phone numbers after that's done with someone that you really connected with.
Wow, that gave me excitement because I'm very curious about that, but it also gave me anxiety because I just get nervous about social things. But I think that is all extremely interesting. I actually saw an ad for a singles 5K in our local area, and I was very curious about that, and I may follow up on that. But thank you, Mike, so much for giving us that information. And as I said, this is not convincing me to get back on the dating apps.
Thanks, Mike. Happy Valentine's Day to you and our friends at ABC.
Have a good one.
All right, there's so much great material that Mike shared with us. I'm not too surprised to hear that dating apps aren't what they once were. They aren't what they once were in my life. And I keep hoping to jump back on dating apps, expecting different results. And lessons learned over the years, I haven't gotten great results using dating apps. I know a lot of people who have had awesome results using dating apps. I'm just not one of them. So it's time to shake it up. I'm really curious about this app he told us about. It's called Time Left. Let's download it and check it out, because this sounds like a new way of trying to meet new people. And this is one of our goals in 2025, yes. Caitlyn, is to get out and meet new people. But sometimes all of our friends aren't available to go out and we don't want to plan a dinner out. This app, I bet you this will do that for us. So let's check it out. Okay, so I've got the app downloaded.
Same.
You have to pick what country you're in, obviously United States, what city you're in. Salt Lake City for us, but there's a ton of different cities on this app. I saw a lot of them as I was scrolling down to Salt Lake City. And then what are you seeing from there?
Well, I just went to create a new account, and the first question I'm getting is, are your opinions usually guided by logic and facts or emotions and feelings? I want to say logic and facts, but I think it starts with emotions and feelings. But then because of my job, it's logic and facts. So I guess it's just, it's taking in information to categorize us, I guess.
So then the second question I get is, do you consider yourself more of a author's film enthusiast or mainstream blockbuster lover? Oh, that's interesting. I picked author's film enthusiast.
Interesting.
So I'm going to pick that one. What's the next question?
Do you consider yourself more of a smart person or funny person?
Both, of course.
Yeah, I said that I think Debbie's really smart, but she's also really funny. So.
Then the next one is, if your life were a fashion statement, would it be classic and timeless or trendy and impressive? Hey, this is a really cool app.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see where this takes us. And then I saw in the very beginning of the app, it looked like maybe it was the online version I was looking at. Anyway, it talked about, setting up a dinner, like a meetup for, I think they said 5 people. So as we scroll through this, we'll have to figure it out. I really appreciate my bringing this up to us because I'm looking for new ideas.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I am in a holding pattern that my dating life has gotten stale. And I just feel like I've kind of gone through all of the options of men in my age group who live in Salt Lake City. It's probably not true, but it feels like that. And I'm experiencing dating app burnout. I'm excited about this.
Well, we need something to make it exciting again. I say it all the time that I am burnt out on dating apps. I don't like them. They give me anxiety. I just am uninterested in it.
How would you feel about meeting a group of people
it makes
for
me
dinner?
feel better. When I was downloading this, I was getting anxiety because I just have this I don't know. I just think I have a bad taste in my mouth from dating apps or any sort of connection app, and I don't know what that is, and I need to move past it. But I think meeting in a group setting, it feels better. And that it goes back to a conversation we had with a relationship, Kristen Sokol, who told us just to be open to any connection, and I have really tried to implement that.
Dating coach, Kristen. Yeah, she's given some great advice.
Yeah.
If you have not heard those episodes, go back and listen to those episodes with our favorite dating coach, Kristen Sokol. She's just got loads of information.
Yeah, basically she just said, look for connection, be open and say yes to that connection, even if it's friend connection, and take the pressure off of it being dating because you never know what it will end up being. And it's changed my whole perspective. So this is just another example of, getting in person and, going to these third places. Mike was explaining all of these trivia nights and things like that. And I want more of that in my life. And I'm making it a goal to say yes to those things and put it on the schedule. Because I think I crave it. I crave in-person connection because even if you're on the dating apps, it's artificial. Even if as much as you try and you want that connection, it's not satisfying that need for connection.
Look, I think the one thing I know for sure about life is that new things come along, new opportunities. The world changes all the time, and this sounds like something new. Mm-hmm. Now, maybe Time's Left has been around for a long time, and I'm just hearing about it now. But for me, it's new, and I think we're always looking for a new way of doing things differently than we've done them in the past. And if it's not working, it's time to try something new. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're recording this, a couple days before Valentine's Day 2025, okay? I am going on, I was thinking year 8 or 9 of being divorced. It'll be 9 years this summer. And I'm still hopeful that I'll be able to meet somebody that I'll be able to spend quality time with. I'm heading into my late 50s and 60s, but I'm not there yet. Mm-hmm. And I've tried to set it aside because it was really taking up way too much of my brain power to figure out why can't I find somebody. It's just so frustrating. I can't find anybody who's the right fit for me. It's not the right match. It feels like I'm going on all these first dates and not feeling a connection. Maybe it's just the universe telling me you're not finding that connection on a dating app, Deb. Mm-hmm. Find another path. I love the idea of, joining a runner's group if you're a runner, joining a hiking group if you're a hiker, whatever. I mean, join a sushi making club. Just do something different. First of all, it gets you out of the house. Caitlyn, you need to do that in 2025. You promised me you're going to do that. I promised you I'm going to do that. You're going to get out of the house more, no matter what that looks like. Take ourselves on our own singles dates if we need to. Doing things with friends is important. Finding a group where we can find a connection to. And then on top of it, finding a different path to connecting with people more deliberately. And maybe this is the app. Maybe it's not, but I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I just think being aware of what's going on in your community is another way to do that as well. But you have to, if you're nervous to do that with the goal of socializing, I think just changing the thought to this, I'm doing this for myself, to say learn a new skill, like say it's like a pottery class or something like that. But you may meet somebody in the process. And I think that that's what you really have to, what the root of it is. Straight ahead, Valentine's Day is tomorrow, so we're going to have a conversation about how to be alone on Valentine's Day without feeling lonely. That's next.
Okay, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. In a second, Caitlyn, you and I are going to go over some ideas that we brainstorm. We know we're going to be alone, most likely, on Valentine's Day.
I don't have plans, and I'm okay. I'm totally okay.
But as part of our dating at her age commitment, we are not going to be lonely.
Yeah.
I refuse to feel lonely. But before we go there, I had a little bit more time to look over my app, Times Left, my new app, the one we talked to Mike Dobuski at ABC News about. And I mean, we talked to him about a lot of different ways to meet new people. But I was really curious about this. So as I looked into it more, and I know you downloaded the app as well, it's given me a couple of dates to pick for dinner. After Valentine's Day. But then I also found out when you pick a date, it takes you to a page that asks you what your budget is. I put in $2 signs because I was like, I'll just put, and then there's different levels, 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month membership fee, if that's what you call it, right? So I would say when you're exploring new ideas, no matter what it is, like look into it. Make sure, the price is right for you. Make sure it's the right app for you. I like to look over the reviews in the App Store. And also I look at reviews on Google or whatever. Just make sure it's the right app for you before you just go all in. I'm going to explore this, but it might not be the right app for everybody. It might not be the right avenue for everybody. But I am curious to see how this shakes out. And I'm going to get the inexpensive subscription. I'm going to do it's still $20 for the month. So I'm going to check it out, and if it goes, depending on how it goes, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'm excited to know how that experience is for you. We also talked about the app Eventbrite, which I'm familiar with this app for tickets that I've gone to different events for, but I've never really just browsed it and looked for events that kind of it can give me ideas, which honestly,
of things that are going on in the community.
Which I see those types of events on Facebook, but I am actually doing a big social media detox, and I'm trying to go dark for like a month, and I'm going to utilize this app more to just know what's going on. And I found events that I would actually be super interested in going to. I found a coffee tasting. I found like all these Valentine's events for this weekend, book clubs. And I'm like, I didn't even know these were things. And so I'm very curious about this. And I think this is a good way for me to stay involved with what's going on in the community, because half the time I don't even know this is happening.
So is that an app as well?
Eventbrite. Yeah, I think Mike Dobuski mentioned this. And it's just, I've gotten tickets to different types of local events on this app, but I've never looked into it.
I'm with you. I have been sent a link to that site to purchase tickets for an event I've been invited to, but I have never looked into it on my own to see if there's an event that I would want to attend. Did you check it even further? Did some of these cost money? Are they free?
Some of them are free, some of them cost money. It just depends on the event. Like the coffee tasting is currently sold out, but I was like, I want to go to that, but I think it's free. So, and then
you want to go to the events that have quite a few people showing up to them.
Yes, unfortunately, that's what I'm interested in. But this is probably not the only one that's going to happen, so I just got to catch the next one.
Super cool.
But it made me excited because when I get bored and want to start scrolling social media, I'm going to scroll this and pick an event to go to once a month.
I'm going to download the app. I wonder if I've had the app at one point. I just forgotten about it. So I'm going to definitely make sure that app is on my phone. And I love. I wonder if you can set up notifications too when a new event gets set up to your area.
Played with that, but I will.
And you get notified. So if you want to do a coffee tasting, you're like the first one through the wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's fun. It's giving me excitement.
So I don't have any big plans on Valentine's Day, but I'm going to by the end of this conversation. Right. I just feel it. But I did sign up for a community event with a friend of mine for the weekend after Valentine's Day. So I'm super excited about that. It's part of my continued push to get out in the community more. With friends, have a good time, and also maybe meet Mr. Right. So I have that lined up. I also recently went to a Utah Jazz game with some friends of mine, so that was a lot of fun. You and I, along with my daughter and her boyfriend, we went to a Utah Hockey Club game, our sort of new professional hockey club and NHL team here in Utah. It's just a way of just getting out there and
just going
Being
outside.
yeah.
Don't be stuck in, which you can stay inside for Valentine's Day if that's what you want to do. It sounds great to me. But I was also reminded about that this last weekend because me and my friend went to this ski joring event in downtown
Oh, tell me about
Salt
that.
Lake City. And it was just a random thing my friend wanted to go to. It happened to be my birthday weekend. So I was like, yeah, let's go outside. That
Nice.
sounds fun. And we got dinner after. But it was just people being attached to horses and they were skiing and doing like jumps and stuff. It was like the most random thing, but I was having so much fun just watching it. And it just reminded me the importance of going outside. And I could breathe the fresh air. It was kind of cold, but then it was like actually the sun came out for a minute.
So
But
cool.
I just feel like, I don't know, maybe it's a me thing, but I am just trapped under a roof all day. And I like it that way, but you really do need to go outside and breathe the air and be around people.
I will say this, and it depends on where you're listening to this. If I was listening to this in Phoenix, Arizona right now, where I grew up, I'd be like, this is the perfect time of year to be outside.
Yeah.
Right? Because, it's hopefully 65, 70 degrees. I know sometimes it can get a little hotter than that even in the wintertime in Phoenix. But, we're in Salt Lake City, Utah, and the winters can get longer in some parts of the world, in the country, in the state. I do feel by February, I need to make more plans so I can force myself to get outside, even if it's not outside because it's too cold to be outside for too long. It has to be out in the community.
Yeah.
Because it just gets, the walls start to close in after the end of January. And I think it's important to remember that we all need to get outside and get outside our world and breathe in some fresh air. But what I'm getting super excited about is these new ways of meeting people that we've connected with here on, just a couple of days before Valentine's Day. So it might work for some people on Valentine's Day. It might not. It might be too soon. But look at the new ways we're already discovering, and we're still early on in 2025. I don't have any plans for Valentine's Day, but I'm making a commitment to myself that while I'll be alone, I will not be lonely. And you've been so good about teaching us how to romanticize our lives on holidays and on birthdays when we, don't have people tripping all over themselves to, ask us, to go to dinner or to spend time. And it is the cycle of life. I hope people know that. Like, I had a friend actually tell me a few months ago, he said, oh, it's surprising to me that you spend so much time alone, given that, you've been in the media for so long. I would expect you to always have things lined up and events to go to. And I was like, no, I spend a lot of time alone. I've realized something about this is you do have to create your own energy. You have to create your own path. Nobody's coming to show up at my door on Valentine's Day to be like, hey, let's go out to dinner. Let's go to a movie. So I have to be responsible for me and for filling that time as, I don't know, to make me feel like, hey, there is a lot of things to do out here and it doesn't require me to always have a partner with me. It used to be that my kids took up that space, but now they're doing things with their own sweethearts. They're not hanging out with mom anymore. So give me like one thing that you think, is important to lean into on Valentine's Day so we don't feel lonely.
Well, I just think, number one, it's important not to wallow in that loneliness emotion if you're feeling that. I think that number one, get off of social media, because that's actually what I'm planning to do, is not be scrolling through my friends' stories looking at their bouquet of roses, which it's never really bothered me in the past. But if you just pretend like Valentine's Day isn't happening, it's not going to bother you. So that's just one tip that I'm going to follow.
Tip.
But you don't have to. But you also don't have to pretend like it's Valentine's Day is about love. It doesn't have to be about love for even another person. I mean, that sounds kind of shallow, but
you can love for yourself.
Love for yourself.
Self-love.
Like if you want to celebrate that, my great idea, which I'm trying to do things differently and not isolate myself inside, is to just, create a night for myself. If you have, money, just maybe order in dinner. Maybe go to dinner. I'm going to say don't go to dinner and watch all the
on
couples.
Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
don't do that. But order in, watch a movie, have a very relaxing night, and just, cater to yourself. Because that's really what you need to do overall is just love yourself. I don't know. That sounds cheesy, but it works. Treat yourself. do the thing you want to do.
I've spent a lot of, interestingly, like a lot of New Year's Eves alone. Where everybody else
hard.
is, and
New Year's is hard. I'm not gonna lie,
but I will tell you, I have started to look forward to it.
Yeah, I spent my first one this year was alone.
Alone?
Yeah.
Why didn't you call me?
I wasn't alone actually. I got invited to go to my aunt's house, and I did go there for dinner, but I went home early because I was tired. So I was at midnight. I was alone.
I've had to train my brain to realize it's nice to not be out on New Year's Eve because I don't have to be out with people who are drinking and driving. I don't have to put myself at risk that way. You know, I'm going to be safe inside my own home. But I found the trick to this is planning something for myself. Having, my meal purchased ahead of time that I like to cook quite a bit, actually. I love to bake, but I'm not going to bake on Valentine's Day or New Year's Eve. So, find like a special meal that I really am craving. I'll go out and splurge on that. I don't do Uber Eats or, whatever the delivery program is of the day. I don't do any of that. I never have. I don't think I ever will. I'm old school. So I'll go to the store. I'll buy the ingredients. I'll look forward to it all day long. I'll usually do like a charcuterie board too. So some meats and cheeses. I love olives. So I'll do that. That's like, it's my thing. And it is my night. And I'll plan a movie. I'll see what's streaming. And I'll plan to watch that movie. I'll usually lean into a movie that I haven't seen in the past. I'm not opposed to watching a romantic or rom-com on I'm not going to get sad because I'm not the one getting married or whatever, meeting the love of my life. I mean, or like a comedy. I'm not going to watch anything dark. And I just make a night of it. Shower early, PJs.
Wake up early. Have a good night's rest.
My own manicures and pedicures. Occasionally you'll catch me at a salon, but usually I'll do even that. Go out and buy myself a new thing of nail polish. I know it sounds like, oh, that's so silly, but it really isn't. It's freeing.
It is. And there's something, because this is my first year with New Year's. I'll just reference that because that is my one that I can. Valentine's Day, I don't think about too much. I just do whatever because it's another
Well, the
day.
first one I did alone hit me hard.
Yeah, and I don't want to say that it's not.
Oh, it hit me really hard.
Because it's a very powerful thing to be comfortable to do those things alone and to actually like embrace that, because it is hard to spend those nights alone. Like New Year's is just for some reason one that kind of it was bothering me that I didn't have plans. But it's because I live alone now, and I made the choice not to go down to my hometown because I had just left there, and I didn't feel like traveling. I didn't want to drive the next day. I invited some of my friends to come up. I didn't really push it, but I was like, if you want to, I don't have plans. You're more than welcome to do that. But it wasn't really panning out, and I was just like, why do you care? Like, why do you care?
Why are you relying on somebody else for your fun?
Yeah, like, why do you want to stay up late and be tired? You're already tired. You did that last year. You were miserable the next day.
What time to go to bed?
The year before, I think it was probably like 3 or 4 a.m. is when I went to, and I'm just like, and I've done that in the past and I know what the result is. But when you have to drive 2 hours to get home, you're exhausted. I have to get up really early for work.
So this year, did you go to bed before
the clock
struck midnight? I was in bed
when the clock struck midnight. I turned my TV off at like 12:01 and passed out because I was just tired anyways. I don't know why. But I was content. I was totally content. And I was very proud of myself for feeling that way. Because I thought I was going to be really sad and I wasn't. So I did spend time with my cousin and his son and my aunt, and we had dinner, but I went home at like 10. So, and then I went to the store. I got a carton of ice cream because it sounded good, and that was my treat for the night. And I went home to my cat, and it was fine. But so I don't want to downplay that this can be hard, especially if you're newly single. Like it's like a big elephant in the room.
Yeah,
that you're alone.
Yeah. So my first year after divorce. Our divorce was finalized in September, and so of course the holidays are Thanksgiving. I think we did actually something together. I'm trying to remember if it was that Thanksgiving or the next Thanksgiving with our kids. But Christmas, I remember feeling like this sense of emptiness, and then New Year's, that was hard. However, I got through it.
Yeah, only way to get over is to get through it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then the reason it works for me now is because I do things. I lay out a plan. When I don't have a plan, I'm just lost. I work well with a plan, so it doesn't have to be packed full of a lot of things. But if it's a beautiful weather day on Friday, which is Valentine's Day, I will plan to go on I don't know, it's probably going to be freezing cold in Salt Lake City. We're in for a cold snap. But if it's a gorgeous day out, I'll go for a walk. And by gorgeous, I mean, is it like just temperature crack 41 degrees? That's kind of if it's 35, no. What movie am I going to watch? What food have I already bought? I'll be out Thursday night shopping to buy, and I just try to level up my dinner a little bit, right?
Yeah,
it's like, I'm not going to do
small.
turkey burger. Okay, again, I'm not going to do my same old taco salad that I do like 3 or 4 nights a week. I am so hooked on my taco salad. But I'll do something a little more special. I'll plan the night for myself. I'm going to get up early Friday morning. I've already got my exercise class already planned out. For Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I'll be up early. I've got the whole weekend planned out. I'm going to meet some girlfriends for an early dinner on Sunday. So I think if we just continue to look forward to things, it makes a world of difference. But at the center of all this is what I think is the best tip, which you gave us, is stop with the social media and the comparisons.
Does help. It really does help because I committed yesterday. Like I'm saying this now, I have to really commit to it. I want to do a full blackout of social media, and because I've done a slow roll of taking it off my phone, but I want to completely black it out for a month to see how I feel, and that includes Snapchat because Snapchat is something I talk to my friends on there, so it really wasn't affecting me a lot. But I'm getting rid of that as well because I really
Snapchat.
Yeah, and this it's probably my generation. I just use it to check in with my friends. It's we communicate that way.
I was on Snapchat for quite a while years ago, and then I literally lost my password to it. I don't know why. It just disappeared, and I couldn't log back on. I'm like, oh, well, there's your sign.
Yeah.
So I haven't had Snapchat, but it's still pretty popular. My kids will use it from time to time.
It depends on some people use it, some people don't. But I get my little updates from my friends there a lot of the time. So it's that was one that I didn't think was going to count, but I was like, no, this counts. You're looking at people's stories, so just the people who will contact you, and you can see what you do with all this extra time. But you'll also not feel like there's so much going on, and you'll get FOMO, fear of missing out, by not having it. So that's it's my challenge that I'm doing, and I'm going to try to get rid of block Facebook on the computer even. Over the weekend, I'm going to try to figure out if I can make that happen.
Is that so you're not tempted?
Yeah, not because I don't really get on it, but when I do check my email and stuff, it pulls up, and so I just check it, do a little scroll, and it's not harming me right now, but I just want to be able to say, hey, I got off of it completely for this month.
What do you mean by harming? It's taking up too much of your time?
It was taking up time when it was on my phone. Now that it's on my computer, it's not. It's I check it once a day.
It's over there,
so it's really not, but I just want to not be connected. I want to know what I'm
Good for you.
I want to feel, I want to understand what it is that that I miss without it, and if it makes a big impact or if I care at all. So because I think that is more people in my life. I'm also curious to what news I'm behind on. I work in news. I'm reading it all the time, but I want to know what I feel like I'm missing from social media, because there's a lot of chatter, which is why that's what motivated me to do this anyways. But yeah, that's a kind of a totally different conversation, but it's applying, and I want to apply it this weekend because I don't want to be looking at what everybody else is doing on Valentine's Day. It's just going to be oh, cool, good for you, I'm going to go do this, but I don't even have to think about it. So, and I'm not saying that to avoid your feelings. If you are feeling sad or down, or you're freshly single, or even if you're in a relationship and your partner's out of town, those types of things can make you feel a bit lonely. I think it's important to sit with those feelings, write it down, do something with your hands as well, but don't necessarily avoid them, but you can turn those feelings into self-love for yourself by making that plan that you talked about, instead of just wallowing in doom scrolling. But, I have a ton of movies on my list that I want to watch. So maybe I'll do that. Something else that also brings me joy is giving to other people. Now, I don't have a lot to give, money-wise or anything like that. But even just sending somebody $5 for, a drink today, or a coffee or whatever, just to kind of spread some love to a friend. That's something simple that you can do that may make you feel good as well, even if you don't get anything in return.
All right. Well, happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day. It's just have a nice sweet treat, watch a nice movie, and,
love yourself.
It's not a big deal. Just love yourself, and it's okay to be alone. You don't have to be lonely.